I am Dr. Surukuku Ghosh. Welcome to my channel, Dr. Ghosh Presents. Myself, Dr. Surukuku Ghosh from channel Dr. Ghosh Presents. You know, I am doing for last more than 1 year videos on homeopathy. There are 4 different playlists. Homeopathic therapeutics in Bangla, homeopathic therapeutics in English, homeopathic remedy picture in Bangla, homeopathic remedy picture in English. Now actually what I want to say is that you will get about 12 to 1300 videos on this subject. Signs, symptoms and uses of Homeo-Remedy Lachesis. Full name Lachesis, short name Lachesis. Common name poison of Surukuku snake. Source Carnivorous vertebrate of class Reptalia. Pathogenesis of Lachesis. With the help of hematotoxic effect, Lachesis decomposes blood, resulting hemorrhage, asthenic and malignant inflammation, gangrene, ecchymosis, abscess, pyemia, jaundice, etc. Neurotoxins of the poison affects different nerves and nerve centers, producing deep prostration, widespread convulsion and unconsciousness. Constitution of Lachesis. Physical makeup of Lachesis. Specially adapted to thin, emaciated subjects during and after climacteric period who have been changed both physically and mentally by their illnesses. They are disposed to low spirit and indolence with bluish purple look. Temperament sad and melancholic. Hot or cold very hot. Miasm shura. Diathesis hemorrhagic. Now look at the picture on the right hand side. This is the picture of Surukuku snake. This Surukuku snake, poison from the snake is potentized and the name has been given Lachesis. Mental journals of Lachesis. Nervous, excitable, loquacity, rambling, frequently jumping from one subject to another, then sadness or repeats the same thing. Compelling delusions, think themselves under superhuman control, think they are dead and preparations for their funeral are being made, think they are despised, hated and pursued, persistence of erotic ideas without ability, insane jealousy, suspiciousness, sad in the morning, no desire to mix with others, malice, mischievous, they talk, sing, whistle, mock, make odd motions, hide, laugh. Delirium tremens from overstudy, overwatching, overfatigue and loss of fluid. Fear going to sleep lest heart will stop. Crawl on the floor, spit here and there. Restless, uneasy. Do not want to attend to business, want to be off somewhere all the time. Weak memory, mistake often made in writing. They are proud, hateful and lazy. Derangement of time sense, mental state worse after sleep. Avoid company, aversion of women to marry, religious insanity. Physical journals of Lachesis. Excessive sensitiveness of the skin with intolerance of touch or constrictions. Intense nervous irritability, restless tossing. Symptoms appear on the left side, then move to the right. Intensely rapid onset of disease with great prostration. Malignant and septic states. Diphtheria. Gangrene. This is how gangrene looks. This black portion will be simply will drop down from the rest portion. This is life. This is dead. So from this live portion, this will be simply go down like a dry leaf from the tree. This will dry. This will drop down. Gangrene. This is carbuncle and this is erysipelas. Physical journals of Lachesis continuing. Small wounds bleed much. Small wound bleeds much.
Bluish of the affected parts, discharges acrid, offensive. Ascending sensation in throat, chills, flashes of heat, rushes of blood. Sensation of a lump in throat, abdomen, liver, rectum. Rolls about in bladder. That is, rolls about of a lump in the bladder. Excessive painfulness of throat, ulcers, spots on the body. Sensation of constriction in throat, in rectum, etc. Great physical and mental weakness. Trembling of whole body, of hands, of tongue. Epilepsy comes on during sleep from jealousy, onanism, loss of fluids. Left-sided paralysis after apoplexy or cerebral exhaustion. Fainting with pain in heart, nausea, pale face, vertigo. Chorea from piercing ears. Dropsy from livers or spleen disease after scarlatina. Cellulitis with burning and blue color of skin. Cellulitis means actually inflammation of skin. Purpura. Purpura, actually this purpura means, see, this is purpura. This purpura is, the picture is shown here. Purpura means bleeding beneath the skin, and that this bleeding is not generalized bleeding. This is spot, pointed bleeding. Bubonic plague, cancer, diphtheria, paralysis, hysteria, catalepsy. Ill effects of injuries, punctured wounds. A catalepsy, the picture is not shown here. I am just giving the name, the definition of this. Catalepsy means the patient is fixed in a peculiar posture. Epilepsy, when there is spasm. See, if you are looking at a patient who is in epilepsy, he is throwing his legs and hands different way. Now you take a snapshot, and that snapshot will be a picture of catalepsy. Ill effects of injuries, punctured wound, grief, fright, vexation, anger, jealousy, disappointed love, masturbation, sprains. Never well since climaxes. Symptoms develop in sleep and patient wake up from the same at any time, day or night. This is chorea, Chorea is movement disorder. Actually, it is a nervous disease of neurogenic origin. The patient goes into various movement disorders. The cellulitis, inflammation of the skin, purpura, bleeding, pointed bleeding, diffuse pointed bleeding beneath the skin. Modalities of lachesis: words, warmth of cover, stove, air. That is the warmth of stove, warmth of air. Everything heat. Then injury, motion of joints, night, wine, ache, spitting. These are the following things or situation under which lachesis symptoms are aggravated. Better cold bathing, air, reposing, ice cold water. These are all better. Head symptom of lachesis: vertigo, was turning to the right, closing eyes, looking at the same object, from walking in open air. That is all these things, that is turning to right, closing eyes, looking at the same thing, walking in everything, the vertigo is aggravated. Headache, heavy, bursting down to nose, right side felt cut off. Sun headaches. Sun headaches means the headache which appears, disappears, increases, decreases with the sun. Migraine, pain extending to neck and shoulder, wet, pressure feeling or burning on vertex. Do not want hair touched. Falling of hair, especially during pregnancy. Perforating tumor of the skull. Eye symptoms of lachesis: feel small or drawn towards root of the nose. Blindness with lung or heart affections. Blindness with lungs or heart affections. Fistula lacrimalis. Now this is the picture of fistula lacrimalis. Note this. Just beside the nose, both sides of the nose, there are lacrimal duct through which the water from eyes passes towards nostrils. That is called lacrimal duct. That lacrimal duct is a natural opening is the nostrils, but sometimes there are abnormal opening, and that is called fistula. This is lacrimal fistula. That is, by some reason the water from eyes is obstructed, so some alternative exit has been created by the system. This is known as fistula. Fistula is abnormal opening. Lacrimal means lacrimal gland that is situated inside the nose, both sides. Two lacrimal glands are there. With eruption on face, intraocular hemorrhages, dim sight. Unsteady look, eyes roll vacantly. Feeling eyes were forced out on pressing throat. Pressing throat, feeling eyes are forced out. Ear symptom of lachesis, hardness of hearing with want of wax too hard, dry, pain with sore throat, pulsation in ears, stricture of eustachian tube. Eustachian tube, see, this is the picture of eustachian tube. Eustachian tube connects the middle ear with the throat. Throat is ear. Ear is throat. This is middle ear. This is external ear. This is internal ear. So from middle ear there is a tube called eustachian tube that connects second part of the ear, that is middle ear, with the throat. This is there are stricture. Stricture means narrowing, abnormal narrowing of this tube. Narrowly generally done, there is inflammation. When there is inflammation, there will be accumulation of pus, infection, and when these will recover, there will be creation of extra cells, secondary cells, and that secondary cells will make the tube narrow. That is stricture. In this way, stricture is formed. In a narrow tube, there is infection, there is pus, there is bleeding, then it will be healed. During healing, there will be new cells will be formed and narrowing of the space will occur. Nose symptoms of lachesis. Discharge with every cough. Blood and pus from nose, cannot bear anything in front of nose. This is a very peculiar symptom. In case of only lachesis, this type of symptom is seen. In case of mouth and nose, the patient cannot bear anything. That is, if you place something in front of his nose, he will feel very much difficulty. Nosebleeds with amenorrhea from blowing of nose. Nosebleeds with amenorrhea from blowing of nose means from blowing of nosebleeds. Paroxysm of sneezing in hay asthma, red pimples on nose. Face symptoms of lachesis: mottled, purple, dusky during heat. Left-sided neuralgia, heat rises to face. Lower jaw dropped. In case of coma, deep unconsciousness. Septic mumps which has got septic condition. Enormous swelling of lip. Mouth symptoms of lachesis: gums bluish, swollen, easily bleeding, tongue swollen, trembles when protruding. Tongue catches on teeth. Loll about. Red, dry, cracked at tip. Apathy and denuded patches with burning and rawness. Much thick pasty saliva. Toothache extends to ear. Thick blundering speech. Cannot open mouth wide. Sudden forcible protrusion and retraction of tongue. That is a very, very peculiar symptom. Sudden forcible protrusion and retraction. You have noted the snake, possibly. The snake throws out its tongue and then immediately it goes back. This particular symptom in case of lachesis patient is also seen. Forcible protrusion and retraction of tongue. Cannot bear anything in front of mouth. In nose, mouth. cannot bear anything in front of. This is very peculiar condition of this particular Lachesis medicine. Throat symptoms of Lachesis: as if a lump in throat, ascending and swallowed back again. Throat pain extends to ear, choking, swallowing painful. Swallowed articles return through nose. Worse from empty swallowing, less from liquid, better from solids. Worse from empty swallowing, less, that is less trouble if liquid is swallowed, and no trouble or better feeling from solid. Very interesting symptom. Excessive tenderness of throat to external pressure, must loosen collar, laryngeal diphtheria, tonsillitis, quinsy. Quinsy actually abscess on tonsil. Hawk out foul pellets from throat in chronic sore throat, thick mucus which cannot be forced up or down. Throat pit feels swollen. Throat pit is this particular place. There is a pit-like appearance in this position. This is called throat pit. Swollen or throat pit feels swollen or sore spot at back of pit. Constriction better from eating. Cannot swallow sweet or acrid things. Stomach symptoms like this: craving for alcohol, oyster, coffee, which agree. Hungry, cannot wait for food, or loss of hunger alternately. There is sometimes severe hunger, sometimes no hunger. Thirsty but fear to drink. Gnawing pressure in stomach better from eating but returns in few hours. This particular symptom is a cancer of stomach. Soreness or cramps in epigastrium, vomit during menses with headache, irritations before epilepsy at menses, nausea after going to bed after drinking ice water. Abdomen symptom of Lachesis: sore, throbbing deep in liver, cannot bear anything around waist, inflammation of liver and abscess, septic gallbladder. There is gallbladder, the whole gallbladder inflamed and ultimately gone to septic condition. Cutting pain in right side of abdomen causing fainting. Swelling in cecal region. Cecal means right just above the groin area, the place of this is called appendix. So this swelling in cecal region means actually appendicitis. Must lie on back with knees drawn up. This is the position. This is the position. In case of appendicitis, the patient goes in a position this like this. Swelling in cecal region, must lie on back with knees drawn up, appendicitis. Pain from anus to navel, abdomen hot, sensitive, painfully stiff from loin down thighs. Constipation of pregnancy, anus feel tight, pains up the rectum every time they cough or sneeze. Hemorrhage from bowel containing charred particles. Piles protrude, painful, worse from coughing or sneezing. Beating in anus as from hammer with menses. Easy sprain of ankles. Trembling of hands when grasping something. Dorsum of feet itch by night and stiff in aim. Dorsum means this. This portion is called dorsum. This is plantar surface. This is dorsal surface or dorsum. It itches by night and stiff in aim. Balls of great toe swollen. Pain in shoulder on raising arms. Feet held to soil as by a magnet when attempting to move. Urinary symptoms like this: as of a ball rolling in bladder when turning over. Urine frequent, foamy, dark and bloody. Small tumor in urethra causing retention. No urine, no stool. Male symptoms of Lachesis: strong desire without power. During coition, no emission occurs. Lascivious ideas without erection. Prepuce thickened, cheerful after nightly emission. Female symptoms of Lachesis: left ovary swollen, indurated, painful. Menses black, scanty, acrid, lumpy. Vicarious from nose. Sometimes it happens that menses do not come out in normally through vaginal opening. But in exchange of that thing, at the same period, bleeding occurs from other outlets like nose, mouth, ear. This is called vicarious menstruation. Less the flow, more the pain. Uterine and ovarian pains better during flow of menses. Ovarian tumors. Mammae inflamed, bluish, nipples swollen, erect, painful to touch, milk thin blue. Liquidia copious, marting, staining and stiffening linen, greenish. Climacteric troubles, palpitation, flashes of heat, bleeding, nymphomania. Desire to go in open air and run about before menses. Very interesting symptom. Note. Desire to go in open air, run about before menses. Respiratory symptoms of lachesis. Feeling of suffocation and strangulation on lying down. On dropping to sleep, must jump out of bed and rush for open air. Desire to take deep breath, air hunger. Tickling, choking, cough. Neck very sensitive to touch. Worse from touching. You cannot touch the neck. Better retching out a little phlegm. Cough during sleep without being conscious of it. Larynx painful to touch. Last stage of pneumonia, abscess of lungs. Expectoration frothy, purulent, difficult, bloody with excessive sweat. Loss of voice from paralysis of vocal cords. Heart symptoms of lachesis. Palpitations with fainting spells. Restless, trembling, anxiety about the heart. Heart weak, too big, as if hanging by a thread. Pulse slow, irregular, weak, intermittent. Intermittent means dropping off beat. Say 1, 2, 3, 4th beat is missing, or 1, 2, 3rd beat is missing. This is called intermittent pulse. Cyanosis neonatorum. Cyanosis neonatorum means newborn baby with lack of oxygen. This is at the time of born, that is time of birth, he is cyanosed. That is, and by some means, normal oxygen has not entered into his system. This is called cyanosis neonatorum. Neonator means newborn. Cyanosis means cyanosed. Cyanosed condition means carbon dioxide is more in the blood. Carditis. Carditis, inflammation of heart, card muscles. Senile arteriosclerosis, that has been shown here. This is artery. In the wall of the artery, sometimes sticky material accumulates. This sticky material is composed of cholesterols, dead cells, calcium, so many things. And this makes the lumen of the artery narrow, such that pressure is increased, and there may be something like bursting of the walls also. This is called, this is a very difficult type of disease when the wall bursts. Then neck and back symptoms, like I said, neck sensitive to least pressure, neck stiff, neuralgia of coccyx. Coccyx bone, you know, at the end of the spinal column, coccyx lies. You can feel it if you touch your finger at the end of the spinal column, just behind your opening of the anus, just a few centimeters above the coccyx lies. Worse when rising from sitting, must sit still, perfectly still. Sensation of thread stretched from back to arms, legs, eyes. Extremity symptom like this is sciatica right-sided. Mind it, sciatica right-sided. Generally, lachesis is a left-sided medicine, but sciatica right-sided. Must lie down still. Worse from least motion, cramps in calf from fears. Phlegmasia alba dolens. This is a picture of phlegmasia alba dolens. This is a peculiar disease. I will just explain it very shortly. This disease is generally suffered by ladies during pregnancy or parturition. After parturition, what happens? In the thigh area, deep femoral veins are occluded. For that reason, the particular leg where it is occluded, it is not occluded here, it is occluded in this leg. When it is occluded, there will be swelling, pain and edema of the leg. This is called phlegmasia alba dolens. This peculiar disease generally occurs in patient who is lying bed for a long time. That is maybe that is pregnancy or parturition or something else. Any other disease also possible. Long lying down condition. In that case, if there is blocking of deep femoral vein, this particular disease occurs. Symptoms: pain in the leg, edema of leg, pain, edema, and glistening, edematous glistening of the leg. Foot sweat, foul or cold. Pain in shin bone. Shin bone means tibia bone. You know, in our leg that is from knee to ankle joint, there are two bones. Inside tibia, outside fibula. Tibia of another name is shin bone. Pain in shin bone in affection of throat. You cannot explain the symptom. In affection of throat, pain of shin bone. This is actually USP, uncommon, strange, peculiar symptom. When the symptom cannot be explained pathologically, the patient is feeling probable trouble in throat. With that throat affection, pain in the shin bone. So this is uncommon, peculiar, strange symptom. Tingling, pricking in left hand, swollen glands in axillae, left arm numb, trembling of hands of drunkards. Skin symptoms: lachesis. Mottled dark mark ulcers. Mottled dark marks ulcers, eating on leg with bluish purple areola. Fungoid ulcers. Varicose ulcers, carbuncles, boil with bluish areola. Bedsore with black edges. Cellulitis, erysipelas of old age. Purpura with intense prostration. Purpura means fine pinhead like bleeding in a scattered bleeding over a skin area. That is purpura. Over a skin area there is fine pinhead like bleeding scattered. Purpura is a very bad type of disease. Very bad type of disease. With intense prostration. Cicatrices redden. Cicatrice means actually the joining where there was some injury, and that injury has been recovered and some extra tissue is formed along the edge of cut. That is called cicatrices. There is reddened, hard, break open. The cicatrice, old cicatrices becomes red and it break open and bleed. That particular thing again start bleeding. It was old injury, it was recovered, but then it may happen that gets red, break open. Capillaries dilated, small wounds bleed much. Sleep symptoms from lachesis: sleep into aggravation, sleeplessness from cerebral irritation of drunkards. Frightful dreams of snakes. Frightful dreams of snake in lachesis. Children toss about moaning in sleep. Sleepiness yet cannot sleep. Fever symptoms lachesis: chill was drinking with sweat. Hit on vertex in flashes. On awaking, on falling asleep. That is flashes. This is hit flashes on waking, on falling to sleep. Sweat about neck during sleep. Axilla. That is sweat in axilla. Bloody, staining, blackish, yellow, garlicky. This is all this subjective relates to this axilla sweat. Feet icy cold. Complemented medicine: lycopodium, phosphorus, zinc iodide. Related medicine: causticum, sepia, zinc. With this the medicine, with this the remedy description finish. It's a very big, one of the very big remedies. Please, any trouble, write down in the comments.